Hi everybody, it's Marcy, and I'm here with another Christmas card make. Again, this card was inspired by Angela at Serendipity Arts in the class she held that was hosted by Maddie at Spectrum Art Creations. Their links will be in the description box below, so be sure to check them out and give them lots of love for having the class and hosting the class and teaching us all sorts of fun new things. Okay, so today I'm actually not going to be working with my Hunky Dory. I'm going to be working with this Authentique paper pad, Rejoice. It's called Baking Collection Kit, and I've had it. It's copyright 2019, so I've been hanging on to it for a couple of years and decided it was finally time to use it. So this is going to be a really simple card. You're going to need one sheet of plain cardstock cut to 6.5 inches tall by 10 inches wide. And when we're done, this is going to make a 6.5 by 5.5 inch, 6.5 by 5 inch card. So a little larger than what we've been working with. Then you're going to want your decorative papers, and you're going to want, you can see here I used one sheet to cut mine. You're going to want one cut to, where did I write it down? 6 3/8 inches tall by 4 7/8 inches wide. And then you'll want two cut to 6 3/8 inches tall by 2 3/8 inches tall. And then you're going to want your little decorative pieces to play with. So gather your stuff. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and then we will get to making this card. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put my plain cardstock with the 10-inch edge at the top of my scoreboard. And I am going to score at 2.5 inches. And I'm going to score at 5 inches. And that's all the scoring we'll do on this. So I can put my scoreboard away. And I'm going to fold my 5-inch score line over, which will basically fold my card in half. Okay, and I can burnish that down so that it folds a little more easily. Then I'm going to take at the 2.5 inch and I'm going to fold it back toward that 5-inch fold line. So, very simple. That is the base of the card. And so when it opens, it will fold out like that. Okay, now we really just come down to decorating or laying our card pieces down. So I'm going to grab my tape. And let's see if I can get this centered. I'm going to put my 6 3/8 by 4 7/8 on the large panel, of course. Still didn't get that laid down perfectly straight. I'm going to have to go back to using my glue again, which I think I'm going to do. Okay, then I'm looking to be sure that I've got, since mine has pattern on it, see, like here I've got part of a gingerbread man and his foot is right there, so I know I want to use that little piece on the next panel. And again, your decorative cardstock can be cut to whatever size you want it to be to fit within the parameters if you want to cover the whole thing. Or you could even just use a piece of printed cardstock like this as the base of your card. Then you would skip this part altogether. I just like I like that little bit of layered look. I do so much better with glue than with tape. Yeah. Now I'm going to put the last one down. And I don't know if you can tell, but ahead of time, I went ahead and inked around my edges. As I like to do, but that's certainly not necessary. It just, to me, it kind of frames those pieces out. Okay, so now this is what we've got. Now I'm going to burnish again, and I tend to do that whether it's necessary or not, but I do like my card to move the way it's supposed to and lay as flat as it will. Okay, so now what I'm going to do first is on the inside of my card right here, because I've got so much busy print, I want to add this little piece in. I just stamped Merry Christmas on it and gives a place to sign. You can see I misstamped on the other side, so I just flipped it over, and shh, nobody will ever have to know. It'll never show. Unless, of course, somebody tries to tear it apart to repurpose it, but all right. So that way on the inside of the card, I just have, like I said, created sort of a blank spot so that we can sign our card without the receiver having to read through the busy print. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this piece on top. I'm just going to overlay this part of the flap. I don't want it to interfere with the folding, none of that. So I'm going to guess at the gluing, but I'm going to guess short because I can always sneak the tip of my glue underneath to add a little more if need be. And you've seen me do that before, so that's just the way I prefer doing it as opposed to having overage. And I am looking to see, because I want that covered up. Okay, and let's see what we've got in here. Yeah, need to add a little more. So I don't know if I can do it so you'll be able to see as well, but I'm just putting the tip of my glue down. And running it along there. And now squishing it down. And on this piece, the gingerbread man and girl are from the Authentique paper pad. And I used a little bit of Nouveau drops on their bows. And then I backed it with a piece of craft colored cardstock. And then a larger piece of red cardstock just to frame it out a little bit. It was a little smaller than I wanted it to be. I wanted to use it, but it was a little smaller than I wanted it to be. Okay, now I've got this one, and it says it's not Christmas without cookies. And again, this is from the Authentique. I backed it with some red cardstock. But before I did, I put a couple of teeny tiny brads in it just to embellish it just a little bit. And put those through the label part and then glued the red cardstock on so you don't have the brads showing on that side. And this goes just about the full, if I measured correctly, the full length of the card. So you know, have to be really careful when I put this down. All right, and I am going to try to hold it in place and just apply some glue and glue that down. And again, I didn't go all the way over to the edge. I'll come back and grab the other side here in a second. All right. So now I'm going to put that scrap under there just in case I have any extra glue that comes out. And I did just a little bit, so let's grab this. Wipe that up. And then I did attach it to the very bottom of this one. So I need a little bit of glue right there. There we go. So even though they started as two pieces, I sort of turned them into one piece. Okay, and then the only other thing I think I'm going to add is this little bow, and I really don't think it's necessary, but I just wanted a little something. Just a little something. So I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac on that. And I'm going to kind of set it cattywampus, as bows often tend to become. Hold that down for a second and let it grab. And this card, in case you couldn't tell, since it says it's not Christmas without cookies, and then the inside sentiment says Merry Christmas, this will be a card that gets delivered with a batch of cookies this year. Okay, so then, very simply, I'm going to have to watch that bow for a minute. Very simply, you've got this, and it folds out this way. And if you stand it up, you get kind of a Z. Or a, I guess as you're looking down, it's a backward Z, but it makes a really cute, if you haven't made it yet, that's, imagine looking at it face on, sort of like that. And it's really kind of cute. So, that is the card make for today. I believe if I can get them figured out how to explain them, I've got 2 more to do, and until next time, I wish you all a wonderfully happy, crafty day, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.